At
All
the
right.
beginning of this, it was like bugging out.
Oh my goodness. This is okay. What's up, people? We're back live for the second time tonight. I'm Jared Never Sleeps. I'm here with the coach, Travis Liller. We're talking about the Royal Rumble predictions for 2022. Well, the road to WrestleMania officially. And the first match I think is going to start tonight is going to be Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. Some people consider this a dream match. Travis, how do you think this match is going to go? Who's going to come out on top?
Well, it's kind of tricky because, we've talked, title versus title at WrestleMania would be amazing, but then you're left with what do you do with the winner of the Rumble? So for me, I think somebody may drop their title, their either the Universal or the WWE title, and I could see them having Lashley go over Lesnar here. Um, it might not be a popular pick, but I would rather see Lesnar lose his title than see Lashley lose his. But I say that, and I don't want to see Lesnar go and beat Reigns at WrestleMania either. But um, that's what I want. But let's with what I think is going to happen. I think we see Brock Lesnar retain because what I want and what WWE does is usually different, and I think this will probably hold to be true as well.
Yeah, it's interesting. I never thought of it from that point of view because, yeah, I guess the title versus title, like we talked about before in previous weeks, that's the biggest match that WWE could possibly have. But then again, what the hell do you do with the winner of the Royal Rumble? I mean, stranger things have happened. It might AJ Styles might win the Royal Rumble and challenge Braun Breaker for NXT, the NXT
Right,
title, or
right.
something ridiculous that we don't see. Yeah, so you got Lashley beating Brock Lesnar.
That's like I said. That's what I want. I'm gonna say screw it. Yeah, I'm gonna say Bobby Lashley wins. Go a wild card pick all right off the bat.
I'm still here. We're batting 1,000 tonight, people. What a night. So I think I'm gonna go the opposite direction. I'm gonna say that big old Brock Lesnar is gonna beat Bobby Lashley. The only reason I'm gonna say that is because I don't see anyone really going after Bobby Lashley if he wins the WWE title again, other than Big E, and I don't think WWE has much confidence in Big E. So I'm gonna go with Lesnar. I think you can do a little bit more creative, more stuff creatively with Lesnar, as far as maybe they do Roman versus Brock. Maybe they do Big E versus Brock. Maybe they do. There's just so many different options that can happen from that. So I'm gonna go with Brock taking the chip back home with Paul Heyman in his corner. WWE is just too high on him to lose, and but I also think that Bobby Lashley is gonna look good in a losing effort.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it hurts Lashley to lose.
Yeah.
If he does lose, I'm most of what I'm basing this off of is us not seeing a title versus title, and because of the whole Rumble thing, and I just think that Lesnar becoming the champion at day one was a very, I mean, it was last minute, obviously,
Yeah.
because of what happened. And I think this would be a good way for, them to rewrite and get back on track what they were trying to do for Mania. Granted, it's not Big E that's the champion; it'd be Bobby Lashley. But if we have Reigns cost a face Lesnar the championship somehow, distraction, whatever, not that Lashley would need the help
Yeah.
necessarily, but I mean, we know how strong Lesnar's booked. So I think if we have Reigns come out and do some kind of cheap stuff to Lashley, or I'm sorry, to Lesnar, that we can see Lashley pull off a win there, and both guys look as strong as ever.
Yeah, because it's pretty obvious that that's the bigger story that WWE wants to tell. They want to tell the story of Brock versus Roman. It's just a matter of how the hell they're gonna get there, because everything is kind of like a just a hodgepodge. People are switching
Right,
brands just randomly, like
right. Well,
it's
when you go and you put Lesnar, I mean, Lesnar didn't need to be added to that at day one, but they're just trying to make it as big as they could, and I guess justify his payday. But they completely saturated the path to WrestleMania with a bunch of confusion. Maybe not to them, but as far as us, we kind of thought we knew what was going on and where we were heading with all these. And And now, honestly, I think that makes it more exciting, though. I mean, I have no idea exactly what they're going to do. I have my ideas, which I'm expressing right now, but um, it adds a little bit of excitement, a little bit of the unknown. A lot of times, wrestling is full of the predictable thing that's going to happen, and I think this will.
Has this
I think
been?
what I'm saying is going to happen one way or another. I just don't know which way it's going to be. If it's Lesnar retaining the title, or if it's um, Reigns regaining the title. I I think one of them drops it because of the other and causes them to go 1-on-1 at WrestleMania. I hope.
Has this been the worst built Royal Rumble? Uh, because I think
This
everything's
feels
the Rumble's been like an afterthought in a lot of respects here because there's so much going on right now.
yes. I don't know about ever, but everything feels rushed because I mean, day one was what 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
You know, they put so much behind that, and again, they got things lost in the shuffle here, where you have what some people would consider a dream match with Lesnar and Lashley. You have all these other matches that would have been a good fit that they had at day one would have been a good fit for a Rumble or whatever for them to start building to WrestleMania. Um, so yeah, rushed maybe, but I think that it's a pretty decent card.
yeah, pretty decent card. I think it's enough to get people. It's the Royal Rumble. Everyone's always going to be excited about the Royal Rumble.
Right.
Some
And
sort of way.
honestly, you could have a shit undercard, and as long as the Rumble matches are on there, I'm gonna be happy.
Right, and get a couple pops. So let's
Right.
switch gears and let's talk about a Rumble. We're gonna start off with the women's Royal Rumble. 30 women over the top rope. They've basically told us a lot of the people who are gonna be in the match. But who do you think are gonna be have like really good showings in this match? Before we get into the winners.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine since Charlotte's in it. That's a different kind of story they're telling with the champion in it. It's not one they haven't told before, but it is still kind of fresh. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that she's going to have a good showing. I think that Bianca Belair is going to have a great showing.
Yeah.
Uh, I think those two are going to be your top. I'm
There's
kind of
Mickey
drawing a blank
James.
at the moment.
Mickey
Mickey
James is
James will
gonna be
probably.
interesting. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they're going to bring her in from another company and just squash her,
Mm-hmm.
um, since it wasn't WCW that she came from.
Right. Yeah.
And it, think here. Uh,
You have the
who
Bella
do you think is going to have
twins.
a good
You
showing?
have
Come back to me.
probably Molly Holly's going to be in there. Well, here's one thing. Here's a prediction I have. One thing I would expect. What I would like to see happen. I really like the first Charlotte versus Asuka match. So let's just get Asuka in there as a surprise entrant. Let's throw Charlotte over the
I
ropes
can
and
see
let's set
that.
up
Yeah,
that matchup of Charlotte versus Asuka. Too. I mean, they could put out
perfect,
a
perfect
great
build.
match.
Perfect way to go
Charlotte
for it. Yeah.
is a great heel. Asuka's a great baby face, even though when she says nothing. And they have history together, so let's run it back. Simple story.
And I think we'll see Lita do a little bit of good. She's in there. It's her first time in forever, kind of being back, and I can see them giving her a few eliminations.
Yeah, yeah. Lita's got to get some rub. Bella twins. Nikki and Brie. I think Alicia Fox, Cameron from the Funkadactyls.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble
I,
and the Women's Royal Rumble?
without surprise entries being in there as a variable, I find it hard to believe that it's not going to be Bianca Belair that wins. I mean, there's been so much build behind her, and I love that. That's kind of who I would want to win, and I think that they're building towards that being a very, very big possibility. Um, but if we just so happen to see Ronda Rousey return, I could see them going straight
Yeah,
to putting her over.
I can see them having Ronda Rousey win, I can see them having Bianca get eliminated by Bailey and set that back up because that's where they ended
Okay.
off before Bailey got that injury.
Right.
So Bianca
Right.
might look
Hit
good,
resume on the feud,
and Bailey does some heelish. Whoopsie. You set that up. They go off. Um,
and you still get Rousey in the main event.
you still get Rousey in the main event, and Bianca still looks good. I could definitely see something like that. But then there goes
I
my
actually kind of like that.
book it, Vince. Book it.
Do it.
Okay, well let's look at this. All right, so Oscar, let's say Oscar eliminates Charlotte. Then I said Bailey eliminates Bianca Belair, and then Ronda Rousey wins the thing and faces Becky Lynch. Easy, everyone's happy. Everyone has an opponent.
Right.
You're
That's a
welcome
hell of a
WWE.
WrestleMania lineup.
You're welcome WWE. It's that simple. But of course, they're not gonna do that. Shane's gonna win. Shane somehow is gonna find a way to win the Women's Royal Rumble.
Santina.
Yeah, right. So let's actually talk about this match. And I think this is the most predictable match in the card. Becky Lynch versus Doudrop for the Raw Women's Championship.
I seen the betting odds on this, and the others are there's some of them that are a little lopsided that have a heavy favorite, but this one was like 92% favorite for Becky Lynch, and
Yeah,
I think that's spot on. I don't see any chance for Doudrop. I think this is a good opportunity for her to show, what she has, so that she can hang with Becky Lynch, so that she can get the crowd behind her, and that she can perform at a pay-per-view or whatever they're called now,
yeah.
premium live event. And it's nothing more than that. It's just a spot for her to prove herself. And I don't see it being a long match. I don't see it being match of the night, obviously, but I see it just being exactly what it is. It's a stepping stone for Becky Lynch to continue on as the champion, and for Doudrop to kind of again prove herself.
Yeah. Yeah, Becky Lynch is not losing the title. I can
No,
see this match
no
going
chance.
like
No chance.
no chance.
That's what she's got.
This thing's gonna go for like 5 minutes because they're gonna be strapped for time anyway. It's gonna be
Right.
some heelish Becky Lynch. I don't know how they're gonna do foot in the ropes because Doudrop is really just too big, but it's just gonna be some type of heelish win for
Yep.
Becky Lynch. That girl loves to cheat. And then we have a mixed tag team match. We got the Grit couple versus the It couple. I see what they did there. Edge and Beth Phoenix versus the Miz and Maurice. So, but I mean, you guys like this build. You guys like this build of this feud. So, where does this?
I did. I mean, we've talked before. Like we would love to see Edge used differently, but this has become something that I didn't know that I wanted to see. Just there's a little bit of old school stuff with it, like the brick, all that kind of thing.
Sports
Everybody loves, not everybody, but all of us like Edge, all of us like Miz, and but I just don't see anybody other than Edge and Beth Phoenix walking out. You bring Beth Phoenix back, who is a huge part of the women's division. She's not going to come and lose to Maurice. Edge, he's definitely the draw here, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the Miz doesn't need a rub. I mean, he's a active legend. Legend might be far fetched, I don't know, but to me, this one's almost as predictable as the women's championship match.
So I'm assuming you got Edge for the win.
Yep, Edge and Phoenix.
Edge and Phoenix. Yeah, could it go? Oh, my damn camera keeps on going out. This is crazy. Do I have Edge and? Yeah, I think you have to go with that. But didn't Edge already win at day one? If I'm not mistaken.
Day one.
I forgot how that match went at day one.
I will tell you in just a second.
We're having a hell of a
Keep you
show,
in suspense.
people.
Wow. Yeah, we are.
We're having a hell of a show.
Technical.
I'll tell you that.
Hey, technical difficulties be damned. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, this
Also,
this is crazy. But
Edge did defeat the Miz that day one,
so the Miz got to get his comeuppance. But I don't want to see this feud keep on
but
going. Please, no.
does he? Yeah, because
Uh,
then we got to have a rubber match, and I don't know where
mm,
you go from. I don't know where you go from having the tag team match. Um, you know, please don't put a tag team match with a gimmick.
yeah,
Let's just have them both move on and have their own thing at WrestleMania
yeah. Next is gonna
that
be
doesn't involve
Elimination
each other.
Chamber.
So I think that this would be a good way to end that because the Miz is always on the losing end of a feud,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
we know we can count on him to come in and make a feud worth watching. Like I said, it's not a dig at the Miz. I like the Miz,
I like the Miz too.
um, but it's
It's
just
gonna be a great
it
Miz
needs
and
to end.
Mrs. episode. That's what it's gonna come out to. This will be just a nice something to put on Miz and Mrs. That we had a match with our friends and it was
Yeah.
fun. Moving forward, let's talk a little bit before we get into the men's Royal Rumble. Let's talk about uh, the former Shield members fighting for the Universal Championship. You got Roman Reigns versus Seth freaking Rollins now. And this is a match that really could main event a Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. Sorry, I feel like I could see this
Yes.
going on. Well, I guess it can't go on last, right? Well, it depends on who's gonna win, but this is definitely obviously a main event caliber match. And how would you like to see this booked? Who goes over? Where do you take it from there?
Well, this plays into the fact of why I picked Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship because obviously the title match at WrestleMania is going to be in some form or fashion Reigns and Lesnar, and I think that the way they're telling the story as Seth Rollins has never been beaten by Roman Reigns. Obviously, Roman's their golden horse.
Yeah,
Uh, he's had the longest title reign here, and I could be completely off. This could be how they get the title off of him. But I think with the way WWE's booked in the past, this is them kind of telling on themselves and going to put Roman over even stronger so that he can go on and be against the Beast as the champion. And probably, unfortunately, there's a Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, but, or not. But that's kind of just how I see it playing out. And then we can get Seth Rollins versus, whoever the winner of, uh, I'm sorry,
well,
not Seth Rollins. We'll get Bobby Lashley versus whoever the winner of the Rumble was, and then Seth Rollins moves on to whatever.
so my question is that is it at all possible that we end up getting Kevin Owens? I'm jumping the gun on the Royal Rumble. If we get Kevin Owens wins the Royal Rumble, he faces Seth Rollins for the Universal title.
That would be a hell of a match. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Yeah, I think that's
And like I said, I think that I I feel like I have what is going to happen down. I just may have been expressing it for the prediction show backwards. I think that one of them is going to cost the other. I just think that it costs it. I think it makes more sense to have the heel Roman versus um, or coming out and costing the face Lesnar the title, because then that gives Lesnar a reason to be pissed off, and maybe Lesnar ends up in the Rumble and wins the Rumble. That would piss me off and not what I want to see. But you know, a la him coming out and winning the Money in the Bank uh, ladder match, whether it was this year or 2 years ago, I'm not sure, but he wasn't even in the match. He comes out. Granted, that was his return, but you know, WWE is high on trying to give Lesnar this big surprise thing, and he always gets the win with it. I can just see it happening. No matter how much we say we don't want Lesnar to be in that spot because we want to see other people getting the surprise push, but I don't know. I'm a little bit jaded, I guess.
yeah. It seems like they never ever get it right.
Yeah, like I said, so I've come out with what I would like to see, and I've come out with what I think we'll see. Um, I I'm just not that into the Lesnar and Lashley match. Um, Obviously, the bigger the two stars there is Lesnar, so it would make sense for him to regain the title. Um, and then as far as Reigns and Rollins goes, I think they've put too much emphasis on Rollins not ever beating or not ever losing to Reigns, for Reigns to be in the position he is in to go in and lose that, because it makes Rollins come in as this even more unstoppable force, and they haven't booked him to be as strong as they have Reigns in the past.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I just don't think
Then
Rollins is going to be the guy that like Roman. They made a big deal
right,
about his 500 year reign. Yes.
but
uh,
also that could be the reason why both of them retain. So you never know.
I mean,
But I think
if it was me, honestly, I would really want to see that title versus title. I want that. That would like hype me up for
I
Mania.
I do I do too, and that originally when Lesnar won it, they won. That was I've been saying that since then, but I think that I'm going to stick tight with my prediction is Lashley winning the championship and Reigns retaining his
Actually winning
by
championship.
way of some type of play from the bloodline.
Right, right. That would make sense. So the only thing we have left would be the men's Royal Rumble. So if Lashley wins, is your prediction going to be Big E to win the whole thing? Who wins
I
the Rumble and
you know
takes the
I,
IC?
I think that would be as we were talking there earlier this week. I think that was after Raw. We were talking about
Yeah.
where's he been? Where's
Where's he
Big E
been?
been? And this could be one of two things. It's their way of being like, hey man, you didn't live up to what we wanted, and we're disappointed. We're gonna try to get something figured out for you on the mid card or whatever. But or it could be their way of saying, yeah, you lost to Brock Lesnar. We're gonna give you a couple weeks off. You're gonna come get your comeuppance as being the winner of the Rumble match. Um, kind of almost an apology for making him lose to Lesnar, but they just maybe they promised Lesnar a title and he wasn't going to get it off of Reigns,
Right.
that type of thing.
Yeah, it's
Because Lesnar, the way he's booked and all, who would have not thought he was going to win that in day one? But that's part of my issue with Lesnar. They any match he's in, they never book him to lose, so it's obvious that he's going to win whatever he's in.
yeah.
But I could see Big E winning.
Yeah, I can see Big E win. Let's go. Let's get that out of the way. Who do you have winning? Who's your guys that's gonna win?
I mean, and this might be wishful thinking, but I did have it honestly down between Big E and AJ Styles, just to give him some kind of, uh, you know, resurgence.
Yeah.
He's been doing a lot lately with kind of putting younger talent over. I'd love to see him get this resurgence back up to the top. And he's never main evented a Rumble yet, or sorry, not a Rumble, a Mania.
He never won a Royal Rumble. He's dead. He's never made it main event at WrestleMania. Um, how about
That's just
this?
the fan inside me.
How about Braun Breaker winning? Could that happen? Is that possible?
That could
The
definitely
NXT champion,
happen.
or
Never say
Gunther.
never.
There's Gunther as well. Gunther might have a good showing.
Maybe.
Take it all the way back to Austria.
Let me ask you this. Well, go ahead with who you think first, and then I
No,
got a
go ahead.
question for
I
you.
was gathering my thoughts anyway.
Um, who are some surprise entrants you think we'll see in the men's rumble?
Um, I would. I would think it would be so awesome. It's not gonna happen, but I would think it'd be so awesome if Kenny Omega was in the Royal Rumble.
That'd be nuts.
That would be so ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's not gonna happen, but we will see.
Internet would break.
And then that would break. Surprise entrance for the men's Royal Rumble. Well, they're talking about like there's not gonna be any Forbidden Door, but I could see like Matt Cardona coming in. Oh, Cena. Oh, Cena. I forgot he even wrestles. Yeah, Cena. I totally forgot.
He's the
about
thing.
Yeah.
Well, you can't see him,
I
so
can't see him. Cena. Yeah, because he kind of teased in the media. I think he was on Ellen. He's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to get to WrestleMania this year, but then, it's like maybe sometimes BS. So yeah, Cena. Then who would he probably would face like Austin Theory or something like that.
And with all this hype behind Corey Graves being cleared to wrestle, I don't think
Right,
he's
Corey
going to come.
Graves.
I think we even talked about this. I hope he doesn't sign on to be a full time wrestler. But if we're going to put him in anything, let him be physical. Uh, the Rumble would be a perfect thing. I don't know if it'd get a pop. I don't know if anybody would care, but it at least lets him say, I competed in a WrestleMania. Or, I'm sorry, the
Royal
Royal
Rumble.
Rumble. I keep saying WrestleMania. I don't
Or
know
what
why.
about the
I'm
King
ready to
Jerry
get going, I
Lawler?
guess.
I want to see the
Right.
King Jerry Lawler.
That would, yeah,
We didn't talk
he's up
about
there, but he
Paige
can.
either. Paige is cleared, supposedly, correct? Isn't she cleared, or she's working on it, or something?
I do. I think I've seen that. I
Yeah,
don't know how we both kind of. It's a good call.
yeah,
That'd be a good surprise.
yeah. Give Paige
Oh
some
yeah.
rub. Yeah, there's Cena. Who else is out there? Um, they probably have
You
Hornswoggle or
have what
something.
we haven't seen in a while. We haven't seen Elias in a while.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Not
Elias.
that that'd be a big surprise or whatnot. Most people wouldn't care, but I'm just trying to think. I don't know how many people they have, and I said I was going to do this after the last show, and I never did it. I don't know how many people they have confirmed. So I think we're going to see a few that, we say surprises, but just not listed. For me, a surprise would be somebody that, you know, A, new to the company, B, returning from, an injury or just not being with the company for years.
Yeah,
But Elias never hasn't been with the company, but maybe this could be his comeback type thing. Two that I could definitely see in it, Champa and Pete Dunne,
yeah, yeah. Ciampa and P Dunne.
if they haven't already been confirmed. I don't
No,
think
they
they
haven't,
have.
but they've been doing dark matches recently.
Right.
So yeah, it's just a matter of time. What NXT guy do you think? Will there be like a Grayson Waller or?
I I think if anybody, Ron Breaker.
Mhm.
I don't. I'm sticking steadfast to. Really don't want to see any of them in the Rumble match.
No.
I want to see NXT do their thing and become that third brand that's not one that people come and go on. I want NXT to be, it's like I said, its own thing, and yeah, bring in an AJ Styles or something every now and again. But when NXT felt special was when NXT was just NXT, no Raw, no SmackDown, when it was completely separate.
A
You
different,
have
yeah,
WWE Raw,
into his own
WWE
world.
SmackDown, and then you have NXT. Granted, it's NXT 2.0 now, and so it's limelight. Um, but I don't think that any of them really have a place in the Rumble match. Not that they wouldn't be cool to see in there, but I'm trying to hold on to that last
It
little
does
bit of what
nothing.
NXT could be.
It does nothing for NXT. So here's my thing with NXT. A part of me doesn't want to like NXT because if I do and it's successful, that means the corporate machine wins. That means the corporate machine has proved that like you were wrong, Paul Levesque. So
Yep.
and for the last 8 years or so, or 6 years, whatever it's been, one of my favorite things about WWE has been the takeovers. The takeovers have been the best
Right.
shows
Right.
consistently, and they took that away from us. So
Right. And
to
that's
have NXT succeed, that just will then they'll keep on going in this like direction of like
right.
cartoonish early
Right.
'90s wrestling, and I don't want to see that.
And I think part of me, I'm bitter, salty. It's all sour grapes, however you want to say it. But the whole NXT 2.0 thing, they killed what I enjoyed most, probably about WWE, was
Yeah,
NXT.
the takeovers were freaking
The
awesome.
when you and then you have this upstart company called AEW that they're very similar styles. It's this. You're going to see insane matches, especially at the takeovers. Um, but it's that step away from this crazy ass dumb storytelling where you have a bunch of Hollywood writers trying to
Yeah,
write
the
professional
culture was
wrestling
different.
who's
The
never
crowds were
seen
hotter. Yeah,
professional right who's never seen professional wrestling in their life, and they're coming in and writing about it. Adding excess comedy, adding excess
Just
bad
stupidity.
acting.
Yeah.
you know, um, I just want wrestling. I want true to life storylines. I want, so what if they're recycled, but it's what we know. It's what we love. It's not this over the top stupidness that we see on Raw and SmackDown, and now that's trickling down to NXT. Um, I can't say that I didn't enjoy Raw, but I know what I'm getting when I turn into Raw or tune into SmackDown,
Yeah.
and now I'm not getting what I expected NXT to be when I tune in NXT because I'm seeing a bunch of people that aren't NXT to me because they refresh, they hit refresh and they started over with new talent, which is fine. But I'm getting this taste of Raw and taste of SmackDown when I watch it now. So
Yeah.
now my only way to kind of scratch the itch of the wrestling that I really prefer is to watch AEW. Um, and they don't always get it right, but I can sit down and watch way more AEW than I can of anything else right now. Even
Yeah,
though the
that's why
psychology
I
in
think
AEW
that's
pisses me off.
I think that's why, and I'm sure it's not going to happen, but I think this is the best time to really cash in on that Forbidden Door this year. Like, just, but I just don't think,
I can't
I don't
see
know
a
if the two
world where that
companies can
would
trust each
work.
other. I don't know if the two
Right.
trust. Yeah, that takes
Right.
trust.
Right. I mean, that would be mind boggling and mind blowing. But then it's like, well, where's the competition? Part of what I love about this is that it's AEW versus WWE. Whether they see it like that in the company or not, to me, that's what it is because I grew up on the Monday Night Wars. I grew up
Yeah.
on WCW versus WWE. Then it was for a little while. It was WWE versus ECW versus WCW.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So now we're getting a very legitimate third promotion with Game Changer Wrestling. They're much smaller, like in ECW
So much
was, but
smaller.
I think they're on their way to. They're going to grow. They're never going to be the level of an AEW or, of course, the WWE, but we're getting a resurgence of what once was,
Yeah.
in a way.
They're like ECW. You know how like WCW and WWF were like huge, and then
Right,
ECW was
right,
like they came on like 3 in the morning randomly on like
right.
cable access
So
and stuff.
that's Game Changer Wrestling.
Yeah, that's Game Changer Wrestling.
And
I can't even find that.
ROH, ROH. If they come back, then now we get four. That's even more than we had. So,
Yeah.
um, a lot of people say that wrestling's dying down, whatever. I think a lot of people just get their wrestling in different ways. You have YouTube that you didn't have in the 90s.
Yeah.
You have uh, all these streaming services, all that. I don't know that they have an accurate way to represent the mass audience that watches all of this like they on Monday night. So I don't know if the wrestling audience has shrunk massively or if it's just that there's so much going on. There's so much media out there. There's so many different ways of watching it. I don't know how that all works.
You know, it's
But I
interesting.
know that
I'm curious to.
when they say they had 1 million viewers, yeah, that's what they had on that night. But you know, when you look back and there was 4 or 5 million viewers in the 90s, um, is it possible that many people left, or is it possible that some of them left, some of them are now taking it in different ways, or later, or I don't know.
Yeah, it's curious. I'm curious about that because if you look at the numbers, like WWE has one of the biggest YouTube channels in the world.
Hmm.
So okay, people might not necessarily be watching. 8 million people, 7 million people might not be like necessarily watching wrestling on a Monday. But now there's all these different platforms, and now there's also these different
Right.
wrestling channels.
Well, and it's like I've never stepped away from wrestling, but like I said, until we started doing this podcast, where I made it a point that if I'm available that night and I don't have work or whatever,
Yeah.
I'm going to sit down and watch it on TV. I kept up with wrestling through YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I can take that 3 hours and you got a 5 minute video that I can click on and get
Yeah, it's just way
everything
easier.
I need,
It's just way
right?
easier. Yeah, the
And
highlights.
so yes, so that was how I got my wrestling for the last 4 or 5 years because I couldn't sit down and watch a 3 hour Raw because I either wasn't home or I just wasn't interested in taking
Yeah,
up 3 hours
it's
of my night to do that because of the the product, quite frankly. But I never stepped away from wrestling. I never stopped loving wrestling. I would just take that 6 minute video, watch it, and then end up, going back and watching an old show, an old pay per view, or something like that. Um, and I don't think that I'm too exclusive in being the only one that's done that. I think a lot of people do that.
Everyone's done that.
Uh,
Even like
right,
some of the wrestlers, like they was like, I remember like watching a interview with like Aleister Black or Malachi Black, and he was like, yeah, he's even when he was at WWE, he stopped watching the show and he would just get like he would figure out what's going on by YouTube. He didn't watch it at
right.
all, and he's figuring it out
So,
from the show.
so is the audience that much smaller, or do we just ingest our wrestling differently,
It's
or a
Yeah,
combination?
I think these corporate guys are probably looking at the wrong metrics because they have to. So if I'm working
Right,
in the TV industry, I have to look at ratings.
right,
That's my job. But yeah, I mean, wrestling has been more profitable than it has ever been in the history of the
right,
industry. So you would have to assume that there's just more fans and more people consuming the product if it's just and more ways to consume the product. So
right.
maybe the fandom is still there, just kind of spread out across a bunch of different platforms.
Did we just pull in 83 weeks? We're talking about the business of the business.
Yeah, exactly. That's fandom for you. So, final predictions for the
Yep.
men's Royal Rumble. Who you got?
I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna pick one. Biggie.
Biggie. I'm going to go with. I'm gonna go with Roman Reigns. It's my sleeper. Women's
That
Royal
was we
Rumble.
didn't quite get there. Um, but I had kind of in my head, like I said, going through the different scenarios there. If they don't just go on from that night and then build it on Raw or SmackDown, um, a possible surprise entry from Reigns or Lesnar, depending on what happens. So um, I'm going to say with that not happening, definitely Big E. But I would say if what I talked about came to fruition, as far as Lashley winning, um, I could see Lesnar kind of getting his spot in the Rumble, uh, which would be a pop supposedly because he's the baby. Um, so you could let the crowd leave happy. Your general, your fan would leave happy with that. Um, but I also think you leave happy with Big E. So that's my two scenarios. I can't pick just one. um, I, I'll go Big E. I got to pick one. That's what this show's for. I'm going to say Big E.
Yeesh. The Big
Talk
E.
myself into it.
Who you got for the Women's Royal Rumble?
Bianca.
Bianca. I'm gonna go with Ronda Rousey. Lesnar versus Lashley. You're going with.
I'm sorry you were cutting out there.
Lesnar versus Lashley.
I'm sticking with Lashley
I'm gonna go with the
just
Beast.
based off of what I went with.
I'm gonna go with the Beast. Becky Lynch and Doudrop. I think we're both going with Becky Lynch.
Yes, sir.
The Grit couple versus the It couple. You got.
The Grit couple.
I got the Grit couple as well. And then Roman and Seth. You got
Roman.
Roman. I'm gonna go with.
I hear you.
I gotta go
There's
with
so
Roman.
many what ifs, but prediction show we got to pick our side and stick with it, and that's why
But I know
I
they
think
also trust Seth Rollins too. They trust him a lot with those belts, and they trust him a lot with
they
those
do, and
situations.
I love the idea of Rollins and Owens at WrestleMania, um, but I got to try to take out what I want, mixed with what I think they might do, mixed with what I wish they would do. So you got to.
Okay, you know what? You convinced me. I'm gonna go against my heart. I'm gonna say Seth Rollins is gonna beat Roman Reigns.
All right,
That
and that makes
yeah,
things interesting because if we
spicy.
agree, if we agree and it's wrong, we're both wrong. If we
Yeah.
agree and it's right, we're both right. But this way, somebody has a little bit of bragging rights.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And speaking of bragging rights, not the pay per view, but we will be having a watch
Great balls
along.
of fire.
Great balls. That's the worst name. We're gonna be
Yeah.
having a watch along for the Royal Rumble on Saturday live here on our channel, Wrestling Never Sleeps. So look out for that. It's gonna have a bunch of the guys are gonna be on here. We're gonna have watched the show and probably have a bunch of drinks. We're gonna do the drinking game as well, the Royal Rumble drinking game, which is gonna be super fun. We gotta hash out the rules. of that. But that about does it for tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. We do this show every single week for all the shows in North American wrestling. So for the coach, Travis Liller, I am Jared Never Sleeps. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for Rampage and SmackDown. And again, like I said, Saturday for the Royal Rumble. Have a good night. Thanks for watching. And of course, it's still real to me, damn it. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Peace.